Good morning, everyone. Today, I am to discuss about one of the important part of human resource management, uh, which is known as employees motivation. What is exactly the motivation is? As you know that in most of the organization, it is seen that whenever there is some important things to be completed, some motivation is given to the employees. And in this discussion, I'm just going to describe how the employees can be motivated and how it will lead to the productivity of the organization and how this organization grow in better manner. Because I can give you some examples. There are some very good organizations in the country and abroad also who are doing very well, but the only thing is that their employees are motivated. So what are the basic things which motivate the employees? This is one of the things which we are going to learn in this particular or topic. And as you know that whenever we want to increase the productivity of any organization, it is usually seen that motivation is the only factor which can help your organization to grow in different manners. So today I'm going to discuss about this. The learning objective of this particular topic is characterization, the nature of the motivation, including its importance and basic historical perspective. That means that in this we are going to talk about the characters and the nature of the motivation, that what are the basic things and what are the importance of this related with the historical perspective. Then second thing, in this uh, we are going to talk about the identification and the description of the major content perspective on motivation. That means we have to identify and describe the major content which will help the employees to motivate. Then the third point in this topic is that identifying and describing the major process perspective on motivation. That means what are the basic process and how we are going to learn about the motivation for the employees in the organization. Then again, the next point is we have to describe the reinforcement perspective on motivation. As you know that when we are talking about the identification and description of the motivation, we have to see the process also, and then we have to reinforce the perspective of the motivation, that how we can reinforce those things again and again and inculcate the things into the mind of the employees, that these are the motivating factors and you are going to work on that particular thing. Then we have to identify and describe the popular motivational strategies. Then what are the basic strategies which we have to follow, and on the basis of which we are going to motivate the people. And the last point of the learning objective is to we have to describe the role of organization reward systems in motivation. As I have told you, there are different type of uh, areas on the basis of which we can motivate the employees. So one of the motivating factor for the employees are the rewarding system, which can motivate the employee in a better and larger and the better manner for the growth of the organization. So, what is the nature of motivation? So, if we talk about motivation, what is it? It is the set of forces that causes people to behave in certain way. That means motivation is basically a set of forces, or you can say it. These are the set of points which causes a people or the employee to behave in a certain manner. Then the goal of managers is to maximize the desired behaviors and minimize the undesired behavior. That means that the basic role of the managers in the organizations are that they have to maximize the desired behavior, but which is desired from the employees for the organization betterment and the objectives, and we have to minimize the undesirable behavior. This is the role of the manager. Whenever the word motivation comes, so the role of manager comes into it, which says that you have to maximize the desired behavior and minimize the undesired behavior. Then next point, which says the importance of motivation in the workplace to determinants of individual performance. Motivation, the desire to do the job. ability, the capability to do the job, and the work environment, that means the resources to do the job. That means that there are 3 points which we have to take into consideration, which are known as the determinants of the im- motivation importance. Number one is motivation, to motivate the people, that how they are going to do the job. Then ability, that means the capability of the employees to do the job. And third is the work environment, the resources to do the job. That means that work environment is very very important in the organization, because what are the resources you are giving to the employees, on the basis of which you can motivate the employee to do the job in a better manner. Now we are going to give you a chart. This is a chart which is known as motivation framework. The motivation process progresses through a series of discrete steps, contents, process, and reinforcement perspective on motivation address different part of this process. So the first thing is the need or deficiency. So we have to identify the need of motivation. That what are the needs? How we are going to motivate the people? Is there really any need to motivate the people? And is there any deficiencies which may cause some problem to for the development of the organization? In that situation, we have to see that what are the deficiencies in that. Then second point is we have to search for ways to satisfy the need. Of course, if needs are there, we have to search that what are the ways how we can satisfy the need. The third is choice of behavior of satisfying the need. As I have said, that first of all we have to identify the need, second we have to satisfy the need, then third is we have to select the choices of behavior to satisfy the need, that what are the basic choices of behavior of the employees and how we are going to satisfy the need. Then evaluation of the need satisfaction. As we were discussing this thing regarding the framework is concerned, that first we have to identify, then we have to search the ways, then we have to select the choice of behavior to satisfy the need, and then we have to evaluate the need satisfaction. That means that whatever the needs are there for motivating the people, it is very very important on the part of the managers to see that how they are going to evaluate that thing. And after that, the determination of the future needs and search or choices for satisfaction. After the evaluation, the managers come to the conclusion that if they have selected the proper need and they are in a position to satisfy the need of the employee, you will find out that the employee will work for betterment of the organization. And after the evaluation and satisfaction of the need, we have to determine the future needs and the choices of the satisfaction of the needs, how we are going to satisfy the need of the employees in the future. So in all the big organization or the good organizations, there is a special department and the people who are only working on this pattern, and they are just finding out that what are the needs and how they are going to motivate the people to work on a particular framework. Then next point is the content perspective of the motivation. So in this, the first part is content perspectives, approaches to motivation that try to answer the question what factors in the workplace motivate the people. This is very very important point, because we have to see how we are approaching to motivate the employee who are working in the organization. So it is very important on the part of the manager to see that what are the basic factors in the workplace which can motivate the people. Because whenever we are talking about motivation part is concerned, we have to see the factors which can affect the motivation part of the employees. Then this is the content perspective, that we have to see the factors which can motivate the people. Then we have to see the content perspective of the motivation, that Maslow's hierarchy of need. As you know, if we you remember Maslow's hierarchy, which says that there is a ladder sort of thing which says that, if you satisfy the need of the people, the demand will increase. When you satisfy the demand, the things will increase. So it is a hierarchy which we have to take into consideration. Then second theory is the Alder ERG theory. Then third is Herzberg two-factor theory and McClelland's achievement, power, and affiliation needs. These are the basic contents of the perspective regarding the motivation is concerned. Then the need hierarchy approach, which is known as the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The first point in Maslow's hierarchy need is the psychological factor, the basic survival and biological function. That means that we have to identify the psychological factor of the employees, and we have to see that how the employee can be survive, and the biological function will work according to the psychological factors. Then security is safe physical and emotional environment. This is very very important in the organization. If in the organization the environment is safe and it is related with the emotion of the people who are working in the organization, definitely you will see the needs are going to be satisfied very effectively, because the employee who are working in the organization, they always look forward for the safety of the job. So this is very important that you have to see the security point of this. Then belongingness, love and affection. It is usually seen if the organization is taking the total care of the employee, then you will see the love and affection and the belongingness towards that company is much more higher than comparison to another organization. That clearly indicates that if you are taking the basic needs of the employees, which will motivate the employee to work toward the mm, achieving the objectives and goals of the organization, and they feel that okay, when the organization is taking care of us, why not we will also love and uh, give affection to the organization. So this is another point. Third is the esteem. Fourth is the esteem point, which is positive self-image, self-respect, and recognition and respect from others. This is another important point in Maslow's hierarchy needs, which says that each and every employee who are working in the organization, they need some self-respect and they need some respect from the other people also, and they should recognize their existence in the organization. This is also very important, because every employee in the organization is having different frame of mind. So it is the role of the managers or the management to see that how you can give respect to the people and recognize and respect others also, because if you are giving respect to the people, definitely you will find the respect from the other people also. Then self actualization, realizing one potential for personal growth and development. This is another important point. This is the part of the manager to identify the potentiality of a person, and the which will help the individual employees to grow and develop themselves. So it is very very important as per the Maslow's hierarchy need is concerned. They are saying self actualization is also important regarding the motivation is concerned. As we talk about the positive part of the Maslow's hierarchy needs, now we are going to talk about the weaknesses of the Maslow's theory, which is five level of needs are not always present. Of course, in the organization, these 5 points are not always present. Ordering or importance of need is not always the same. They are saying that this is another weakness, that you cannot order the things to the employees, and the importance of needs cannot be identified, and it is not always the same. It may vary from time to time. And the cultural differences, yes, of course, in the organization there are people who are working who belongs to different culture. So whenever there is a cultural difference, of course the need of the person will also changes. And when the need of the person changes, then you cannot do all these 5 points which I have talked to you, which is related with the psychology, security, belongingness, esteem, and self actualization, will not take place. So, this is the weakness of the Maslow's hierarchy theory. Then, if you see the diagram here, this diagram says that the 5 points are there: so, physiology, security, belongingness, esteem, and self actualization. What are the basic psychological or physiological need of the individual? Food, security is stability, friendship, belongingness, status, and achievement. These are the 5 points. Then another 5 points are base salary. That means what are the salaries they are getting. Then pension plan. Is there any pension plan which comes under the security part? Then friends at work. That belongingness come when your friends are also working there and you are also working there. Then esteem means job title. That means that at what position you are working in the organization. And the self actualization means challenging jobs. That how you can work on a challenging job and do the work effectively so that it will help the organization to grow. So if we see this chart will give you a clear picture that these are the 5 points, and these are the general example and the organizational example which each and every employee wants from the organization. So if these things are there, definitely the employee will work and motivate themselves to work for betterment of the organization. Now, what is ERG theory? ERG theory says needs are grouped into three overlapping categories. As per the ERG theory, they say that the needs are grouped together and they are overlapping categories. Number one is existing needs. That means physiological and security needs. As I have talked to you regarding the physiological and security needs in the Maslow's hierarchy theory. Then the relatedness needs, belongingness and esteem by other. That means that there should be some belongingness and there should be some respect from other people also who are working in the organization, whether it is the colleagues or whether it is the managers or the management. Then the growth needs self-esteem and self-actualization. In this particular part, they are saying that self-esteem, as I have described you just now, and self-actualization, that how you are going to identify the potential of the person and how you can motivate the person to work for the betterment of the organization. So these are the overlapping things which in ERG theory they have described, that existing needs, relatedness needs, and the growth need. These are the three things which usually overlap with each and other thing. Then ERG theory assumes that multiple needs can be operative at one time. That means there are no absolute hierarchy of the needs as per the Maslow's theory is saying. But in ERG, they are saying there are multiple needs which can be operated at one time. Because when the employee is working in the organization, maybe they are finding out their different type of needs. Maybe psychological needs, maybe security need, maybe self-actualization needs. So there are different type of needs which can arise one at a one point only, and there is no specific hierarchy for that. Then, if a need is unsatisfied, a person will regress to a lower level need and pursue that need, frustration and regression. That means that if the need of an employee is not satisfied, what will happen? He will go for some other needs also, and this will give a frustration to the employee and it will result in the regression. So it is very, very important, and it is a very important part for the managers to see that how they are going to satisfy the need of the employees, or you can say it is a very important part from the human resource department to see that how they are going to satisfy the need of the employees. Because in all the good organization, as I am repeating this thing again and again, the needs are taken care by the management very effectively. So it is seen that if you are satisfying maybe 70% of the need of the employee, you will find that these employee will work for your organization very, very effectively. Then two factor theory. This is the theory which is given by a scientist named Herzberg. He says that the satisfaction and dissatisfaction are influenced by two independent set of factors. According to the Herzberg, satisfaction and dissatisfaction are influenced by two different factors. And theory assumes that job satisfaction and job dissatisfaction are on two distinct continuums. That means this theory says or assumes that these satisfaction and dissatisfactions are two distinct continuums. Number one, motivational factors, work content are on a continuum that ranges from satisfaction to no satisfaction. That means that there are two factors. Number one is motivational factor, which is the work content. Either it is ranges from the satisfaction to the unsatisfaction range, or the hygiene factor, that is the work environment, are on a separate continuum that ranges from dissatisfaction to no dissatisfaction. So, as per the Herzberg theory, there are two factors which are working as per the satisfaction and dissatisfaction levels are concerned. Number one is motivational factor, which is related with the work content. Then number two is the hygiene factor, which is related with the work environment, which says that if there is a good environment in the organization, you can always find out that there are ranges are from dissatisfaction to no dissatisfaction. The theory posits that motivation is a two-step process. Number one, ensuring that the hygiene factors are not deficient and not blocking the motivation. They are saying that it is the role of the organization to see that they are not going to block the motivation factor in respect to the hygiene factors are concerned, which is the work environments are concerned. Then second is giving employees the opportunity to experience motivational factors through job enrichment. That means they are saying that it is the part of the HR department of the organization to see that how they are giving the opportunities to the employees to experience the motivational factors through job enrichment. Then there are two factor theory of motivation. If we talk about the motivational factors, what are the basic motivational factors? Achievement, recognition, work itself, responsibility, and the advancement and growth. Of course, everybody knows about these things. These are the basic motivational factor: achievement, recognition, work itself, responsibilities, and advancement and growth. And on the hygiene factors are concerned, we can talk about the supervisors, working conditions, interpersonal relationships, pay and security, company policies, and administration. So these are the things which can divide this theory into two parts. One is the motivational factor, which leads to the satisfaction or the dissatisfaction level, and another is the hygiene factor, which leads to the dissatisfaction and no dissatisfaction level. The two factor theory suggested that job satisfaction has two dimensions. A manager who tries to motivate an employee using only hygiene factors, such as pay and good working conditions, will likely not succeed. To motivate the employee and produce a high level of satisfaction, the managers must also offer factors such as a responsibility and the opportunity for advancement. That means that only pay and security will not serve the purpose if you are motivating the people on the basis of that. There are other factors also which are known as the responsibility, that these are the responsibility of particular manager, and the opportunities for advancement. Then individual human needs. This is another scientist, Maxillan, who give a different theory regarding motivation is concerned, which is known as individual human needs. The first point in this theory says the need for achievement. That means the desire to accomplish a goal or task more effectively than in the past. That means there must be some sort of need of achievement among the employees who can desire to achieve the goal which they are achieving but more efficiently than the past achievement. Second is the need for affiliation. That means the desire for human companionship and acceptance. That means the people who are working in the organization, it is the role of the organization to show how they are accepting the employees in the organization and what are the companionship there which are existing in the organization. And the need for power, the desire to be influential in a group and to be in control of one's environment. That means that it is usually seen that when the people are working in the group, in the organization, there must be some sort of desire within the employees who can become an influential part of that particular group, and they are controlling the one of the environment of that particular group also. So if we talk about the Mclelland research work, he divided this theory into three parts: the need of achievement, the need for affiliation, and the need for power. So there are some implications also on the content perspective of this particular theory, which says what causes motivation and process how motivate other. That means that first of all in this particular thing the implications are this, that which says that what are the causes for motivation, what are the things which can motivate the people, and second is how motivation occurs. Then process perspective, what are the process perspective of the motivation, approaches to motivation that focuses on why people choose certain behavior options to satisfy their need. These are the process perspective, and under this perspective, the first thing comes is the approaches to motivation, which focuses on point number one, which says why people choose certain behavior options to satisfy their need. It is important to understand why people are choosing a certain behavior in the organization to satisfy their needs. This is very important part because you have to identify why people are choosing that behavior, and and how they evaluate their satisfaction after they have attained their goal. That means that whatever the needs they are going to be opt out, it has to be taken care that what are the evaluation of their goals to be achieved and their needs are satisfied. Then what are the basic evaluation part? Then process perspective of motivation. Expectancy theory is there, total lower extension of expectancy theory is there, equity theory is there, and goal setting theory is there. So if we talk about the expectancy theory, which says motivation depends on how much we want something and how likely we are get it. That means that motivation theory say or expectancy theory says that how much we depend on what we want and how much we are going to achieve. And this theory assumes, that is, expectancy theory assumes, the behavior is determined by personal and environmental forces. Yes, this is very important, which says that the behavior of the employee it is totally dependent on the atmosphere and the personal forces which are prevailing there within the employees or the organization. Then people make decisions about their behavior in organization. Yes, in the organization, the behavior of the people are totally depend upon the organizational environment. The way the environment takes place, the way the people react. People have different types of needs, desires, and goals. As I have told you that people are having different type of needs, desires, and goals. The people choose among alternatives of behavior in selecting one that leads to a desired outcome. That means that as per the needs satisfaction is concerned, employees who are working in the organization, they are selecting their own behavior alternatives to satisfy their goals. Motivation leads to effort that, when combined with ability and environmental factor, results in performance which lead to various outcomes that have value to employees. They are saying that in expectancy theory, they are saying motivation leads to the effort when combined together with the ability of the people, environmental of the organization, which results in the performance of the individual and which leads to the various outcomes that have value to the employees. That means these things, when we are combining together, that means when we are combining the ability and the environmental forces or the factors, it leads to the performance of the employee, and it have some values to the employees also. Then next is the element of expectancy theory. What are the basic elements of expectancy theory? Efforts to perform expectancy. The employee's perception of the probability that effort would lead to a high level of performance. That means that this is the thinking of the employees or the perception of the employee that the probability is there that when they are putting up the efforts, that will lead to the high performance. Definitely, it is there. If employees are putting their efforts to complete the work, you will see that the level of performance will increase. Then, performance to outcome expectancy. The employee's perception of the probability that performance will lead to a specific outcome, the consequences or reward or for behaviors in an organizational setting. That means that employee always see that when they are performing, and the probability is that they are going to achieve a specific outcome which leads to the rewarding of that employee what work they have done in the organization. So it is very very important on the part of the management or the HR department to see that when employee is performing effectively and the outcomes are coming, this is the role of the manager or the top management to see that how they are going to reward that particular person. Then valency. What is valency? An index of how much an individual values a particular outcome. That means that whatever the outcome comes with the help of the performance of that particular individual, this is to be valued by the employee itself. That how much work they have completed and what value they have given to that particular work which they have completed. It is the attractiveness of the outcome to the individual, which says it attract outcome have positive values and unattractive outcomes are the negative valencies. So it is the important part on the working condition of the employee to see that what is the index on how much an individual value for their performance or the outcome. Then motivated behavior. This is another point which comes into the existence, which says that both effort to performance expectancy and performance to outcome of expectancy probabilities must be greater than zero. That means they are saying the efforts, that means from efforts to performance and from performance to outcome, the probabilities must be greater than zero. The sum of the valences must be greater than zero also. So please try to understand in this that the what we are talking about the valence, it is an index that how much an individual value a particular outcome. And the motivation factor says that there are two things which we combine together, that means efforts to performance and the performance to outcome. expectancy probabilities must be greater than 0, and the sum of the variance must be greater than 0. Then there is a chart which give you an idea about what is the model of motivation. Motivation depends upon three parts: environment, effort, and ability, as I have described to you. Then it comes or leads to the performance. Then that leads to the outcome and the valence. So the expectancy model, which is there of motivation, is a complex but relatively accurate portrait of how motivation occurs. According to this model, a manager must understand what employees want, such as pay, promotion, or status, to begin to motivate them. That means that with the help of this model, manager can easily identify that what exactly the employee want, whether they want pay, promotions, or status. These are the three main things which usually employees want. So this is the expectancy model of motivation. Then Porter-Lawler extension of expectancy theory. This is another scientist who gave the theory regarding the motivation is concerned, which is known as assumptions. If performance results in equitable and fair rewards, people will be more satisfied. That means they are saying that if performance given by the employee is fairly rewarded, you will see that if people are more motivated or satisfied. Then high performance can lead to rewards and high satisfaction. Of course, when the person are doing a very good job within the organization and their performance is really good, this will lead to high reward and high satisfaction. Then what are the type of rewards? Extrinsic rewards are outcomes set and awarded by the external parties. That means pay and promotion, which is known as extrinsic rewards. Then intrinsic rewards are outcome internal to the individual. That means self-esteem and feeling of accomplishment. So there are two type of rewards which are given in the Porter-Lawler extension of expectancy theory, which says that there are two type of reward. One is extrinsic reward, which are known as the pay and promotions, and one is intrinsic reward, which are known as the self-esteem and the feeling of accomplishment. That if employee is working on a particular project, and when they complete the project successfully, so the feeling which comes within the employee, that we have achieved something very good, this is the feeling of accomplishment. Then there is a model which says that what exactly is the Porter-Lawler extension expectancy model. Performance leads to two things: intrinsic reward and the extrinsic reward. It will goes up to the perceived equity and job satisfaction. That means they are saying the exception of expectancy theory suggested that if performance result is equitable rewards, people will be more satisfied. Thus, performance can lead to satisfaction. Managers must therefore be sure that any system of motivation includes rewards that are fair or equitable for all. That means they are saying that if the employees are working in the organization and they are performing very well, so the rewards which has to be given to the employees, it should be equitable, because when we are you are giving the award to the employee, it will lead to the satisfaction, and which will lead to the job satisfaction. Then equity theory. What is equity theory? Equity theory says people are motivated to seek social equity in the reward they receive for performance. That means equity is an individual's belief that the treatment he or she receives is fair relative to the treatment received by the others. That means people. seeks, or people are motivated to seek social equity reward. What is social equity reward? Social equity reward is that the treatment he or she who are working in the organization receive a fair relative treatment received by others also. So they will feel little bit satisfied, and they feel that they are also equal while they are working in the organization. As per the individual views, the value of reward, that means the outcome, and the input of efforts as ratios and make subjective comparison of themselves to the other people. So here is a formula which says outcome divided by input, and the outcome divided by input for others. So that means self and others are equivalent if we divide both the things together. Then the condition of and reaction to equity comparison. When we are comparing these equity comparison, what are the conditions? Number one, feeling equitable rewarded. Maintain performance and acceptance comparison as fair estimate. That means that you have to maintain the performance and acceptance comparison fairly. Feeling under rewarded, try to reduce the inequity. When employees feel that they are under rewarded, it is better to reduce the inequity among the employees. Change inputs by trying harder or slacking off. That means you have to change the inputs which you are providing to the employees. Then change the outcome by demanding a raise. Then distort the ratio by altering perceptions of self or of others. Then change comparisons by choosing another object person. So these are the things which comes under the feeling under rewarded. Then feeling over rewarded means increase or decrease the inputs, distort the ratio by rationalizing, and help the object person gain more outcomes. These are the feeling for the over rewarded thing. Then we are going to talk about the goal setting theory. This is another setting theories which are given by the scientists, which says that there are some assumptions regarding the goal setting theories are concerned. Behavior is a result of conscious goal and intentions, and setting goals influence the behavior of people in the organization. That means that on the one hand, they are saying behavior is a result of conscious goals and intentions. That means that the behavior of an individual results in the conscious goals. And they are saying when you are setting a goals, it will influence the behavior of people who are working in the organization. Then what are the characteristics of the goals? Goal difficulty. Extent to which a goal is challenging and require the efforts. Number one. Number two, people work harder to achieve more difficult goals. And number three, goals should be difficult but attainable. That means they are saying that whatever the goals are fixed up by the organization, it should be attainable, and goal should be such that the people will work harder to achieve that the particular difficult goals also. Then goal specificity, clarity and precision of the goal. Whatever the goals are set by the organization, it should be very clear and precise. Then goals vary in their ability to be stated specifically. That means that goals which are set up by the organization, it depends upon the person to person and the level to level, which should be very, very clear. Then goal acceptance. The extent to which person accept a goal as their own. It is said that when the organization are setting up the goals, whether it is harder goal or the normal goal which can be attained easily, the, it is seen that how people who are working in the organization are accepting that goals. Then the extent to which an individual is personally interested in reaching the goal. This is another commitment that says that in the organization, when the goals are set up, it has to be seen that how and in which way people are interested in reaching that particular goal. Then what are the basic implication of the process perspective? If rewards are to motivate employee, they must be perceived as being valued, attainable, fair and equitable. That means whatever the rewards are given by the organization when the employees are performing better, it must be perceived as being valued, attainable, fair and equitable. Then only the people will work for the betterment of the organization. Then there is a chart, that expanded goal setting theory of motivation. There are two things which we have to divide into it. Number one is goal difficulties and number one is goal specificity. Then this goal difficulty and specificity goes to the goal directed efforts, whether it is acceptance or commitment. Then goal directed efforts move to the performance of the individual with the help of the either organizational support or either individual ability and the traits. This goes to the satisfaction level, which says that instinctive reward or extrinsic reward. Then reinforcement perspective on motivation. This is another theory which says the role of rewards as they cause behavior to change or remain the same over time. That they are saying in this reinforcement motivational theory, they are saying that the role of rewards are playing a very important part in the life of the employees. Maybe it will change the behavior of the employee or it will remain the same. This theory assumes that behavior that results in rewarding consequences is likely to be repeated. That means that whatever the employee is doing, if he or she is rewarded properly, you see that the behavior will repeat the same thing. Whereas behavior that results in punishing consequences is likely to be repeated. That means if you are punishing a people, you will see that it is going to be repeated again and again. Then what kind of reinforcements are there in the organization? Number one is positive reinforcement, if strengthen the behavior. Avoidance, if strengthen the behavior by avoiding unpleasant consequences. Number three is punishment, weakness undesired behavior by using negative outcome. Extinction, weakness undesired behavior by simply ignoring or not reinforcing that behavior. So these are the things which are the kind of reinforcement which comes in the reinforcement motivation. What are the reinforcement schedules? Fixed interval schedule. Reinforcement applied at fixed time intervals regardless of behavior. Then variable intervals. Reinforcement applied at variable time intervals. Then fixed ratio. Reinforcement applied after a fixed of behavior regardless of time. Then variable ratios, reinforcement applied after a variable number of behavior regardless of time. So they are saying that it is very important to understand this thing. Then next point is the reinforcement in the organization, behavior motivation, modification. Then implication of the reinforcements perspective, how you are going to do that. Then empowerment and participation. I think this is the most important part in the organization. In you are empowering the things. This is these are enabling workers to set their own work goals, make the decisions, etc. Then participation says giving employees a voice in making decisions. Then areas of participation, making the decisions about their jobs, decisions about administrative matter, and participation in decision making. Then techniques and issues in empowerment. using the work team, decentralization, and condition necessary for employment. Then reward system, the formal and informal mechanism by which employee performance is defined. Then effect of organizational rewards, higher level performance reward help align employees self-interest with organizational goals, and reward foster increased retention and citizenship. Then merit reward system, based on a meaningful portion of individual compensation on merit, the relative value of an individual contribution to the organization. Then incentive reward system, concept says employee pay is based on employees output. Then what are the assumption of that? Performance is under the control of the individual worker. The employee work at a single task continue, and pay is tightly tied to performance. Incentive reward system, incentive plans, piece rate system, sales commission, or maybe non monetary incentives. Then team and group incentive rewards, gain sharing programs, Scanland programs, employee stock ownership programs. Then executive compensations, standard form of executive compensation, base salary, incentive pays, that is bonuses. Then a special form of executive compensation, stock option or executive perks. Third is criticism of executive compensation, excessively large compensation, compensation not tied to overall performance, or earning gap between executive pay and typical employees' pay. Then new approaches to performance-based reward, leveraging the value of incentives. That means allowing the individuals and groups in the organization to have a say how the rewards are distributed. Then getting increasingly innovative in incentive programs. The next is there are key terms which are used in this, which we have talked about it. So I'm just going to repeat those things. Motivation, content perspective, Mostless hierarchy theory, ERG theory, two-factor theory, need for affiliation, need for achievement, need for power, process perspectives, expectancy theory, then behavior modification, compressed work schedule, job sharing, telecommuting, merit pay plan, reward system, piece rate incentive, gain sharing program, and scan. And last is stock option. So I'm quite sure that you are clear about the motivation, that how employees can be motivated and how they will perform better for the organization. So on the basis of that, I have just given some questions here, and these questions are basically related with motivation. And I'm quite sure that you are in a position to give the answer for these questions. So this is all from my side for today. Thank you very much.